Live now, Prabhu's, I think. Let's see. If we're on live, yes, we got
Okay,
it.
you're
So
live.
let's see the paper. So my question, okay. Look. Narayan, can you see it?
Not yet.
Oh, you can't see it?
No.
Okay, one second. It's not being shared, it looks like. Okay, now I'll share it now. Okay, there you go. I was not sharing it. All right.
Okay, yeah, I see it now.
Okay. Picture of Lord Jagannath with two legs and indications as to where each Varna corresponds.
Which means the head is the Brahmin, the arms are the Kshatriya, the waist is the Vaishya, and the legs, the mighty legs, are the what holds everything together is the Shudra.
All right. Okay. So
Without
that's
legs, even the greatest warrior missing his legs is not going to get very far in the battlefield.
unless he has a powered scooter.
Well, that's another possibility.
I'm just kidding.
So, well, yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Deva Varnashram Dharma, creating a communal society protected by cows. Number one. First step in Deva Varnashram Dharma is to obtain land that is fertile, has running water or a large lake, and can sustain large cow pastures. Okay, that makes sense. Cows require water. Land has to be fertile to grow offerings to Lord Jagannath, Bhoga to Jagannath, and sustainable also. Okay. Number two, the essential principle of Deva Varnashram will be from each according to his ability, to each according to his need. Okay. So that means whatever a person requires according to his status,
No, according to his need.
need, right? I mean, a Brahmana,
I mean, a
Brahmana's need is different.
should have all the wealth, but if he's just a brahmachari Vaishya, he shouldn't live in a brahmachari ashram. He doesn't
Yes.
need a big house because he's a Vaishya.
Yeah, Brahmana's need is different, the Kshatriya's need is different, Vaishya's need is different, the Shudra's need is different, but they all require food. Some,
Well, keep going. You're going to see it all emerge
Yes.
from these pages.
yes. Number three, the land and all building materials, cows, what is called foundries? Foundries?
Foundries.
What?
Foundries, it's like a blacksmith shop or a place where you can cast metal objects.
Okay,
Suppose you want to make a lota out of brass, you heat the brass and then you pour it into a mold and then you run it on a lathe and then you polish it until it looks like a lota.
okay. All agricultural products such as food grains, cotton, linen, etc. will be owned by Lord Jagannath as the sole proprietor, modeled after the ownership of all Puri land by Lord Jagannath as in pre-British Puri in Orissa. Okay. Hare Krishna. There's someone coming in, one second. Okay, so here. So has anyone done research according to this pre-British, what is this, ownership?
I've
How
done
do-
some research, not nearly enough,
Okay,
but in the pre-British times, do you remember the Prabhupada said if people come to, even today, to Jagannath Puri Temple and 50,000 come in, they can sit down and will be given prasadam for 50,000
yes.
without any advance warning.
Right.
So the farmers, when the British came, they told the farmers, you're being exploited by that wooden idol inside that big stone building while you live in a bamboo house. You should own your own land. So they divided it up so each farmer had his own land. The result is poverty.
So we have to do more research on number two then, huh?
Of course.
Okay.
But the basic
Number one.
principle is Lord Jagannath would be the
proprietor.
owner of it.
Yes.
He owns everything anyhow, whether we admit it or not.
Right.
So he would own everything. Is there any problem there?
No. Okay, let's see. Okay, after all. Okay, where are we? We're at
Number 4.
number 4, yes. The size of the land will depend on the maximum number of Varnasrum participants in a Varnasrum project that will eventually reach a population of 2,000 inhabitants. The size of the land should be approximately 10,000 acres. Okay,
That could be 4,000 or whatever, it depends on the land.
okay,
But I'm
Number
just
5.
giving a rough idea.
Right. Unless there is a compelling reason to do otherwise, it will be better to create independent companion Varnashram communities within a few miles of each other, rather than try to make one very large, complex Varnashram community. Okay, that makes sense to have a couple of different independent,
No politics or
Yes.
less politics.
yes, independent Varnashram.
So I guess Prabhupada's idea for ISKCON, a bunch of small temples, not just one big temple with lots of politics.
Okay, so we're at this all property, movable assets, as well as virtual equipment and goods will be solely owned by Lord Jagannath. Okay. Number 6, any transitional use of karmi machinery, equipment, technology, etc. will be owned by Lord Jagannath, and its use will be overseen by Brahmins and other designated members of the society. All right. So there would a question arise here. You said overseen by Brahmins and other designated members of the society. So,
Yeah.
so how would we highlight who's a Brahmin, who's a Vaishya, who's a Kshatriya, who's a Shudra? Is it by natural inclination towards?
Oh, yes, of course. No one is. If you want to be a Brahmin, you have to know your gotra, which goes back to the 7 sages that created the universe, that were there and created mankind in the beginning of the universe.
Mhm.
People don't know their gotra.
Yes.
Prabhupada took that
Mhm.
gotra, right? Gotra.
What's Gotra?
Gotra is your lineage, exactly lineage.
Got
Like
it.
Yakan, where did the first Yakan become a Yakan? How many
Got it.
thousands of years? And now we're talking about Gotras, we're talking billions of years ago. And that person comes down as a Brahmin. If they don't know their Gotra, they cannot claim to be a Brahmin.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
Prabhupada created a whole situation whereby just hear the holy name of Krishna and you're saved, then you become a Brahmin. When you ask, can I get a sacred thread? I want to become a pujari. You take some training, what is it? The 3 stages that Prabhupada created for study. They're very simple. Anyone can do them.
Explain Brahmin in Punjabi.
Brahmin in Punjabi?
Pujari. He's talking
Pujari.
about Pujari.
Pujari. Oh,
Pujari.
A Brahmin means it's twice born. You take your first initiation, then you take another initiation where you have to live a much more strictly pure life, and you are taking care of the deity, you're taking care of the cooking. You cannot offer foodstuff to the deity unless you're a Brahmin, meaning trained and pure, so that you don't do stupid things.
A
Twice
Brahmin
initiated.
A Brahmin is like a priest.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a Pujari?
It's a Brahmin. It's a Pujari means he worships the deity. He is the Brahmin in charge of making offerings. But yeah, let's get back on track or we're going to get trapped in nowhereness.
Okay, one second. Let me load it up because we need to yes, just to highlight these things. Okay. Let's see here. Let's share the screen. Okay, where is it? One second, Prabhus.
Yeah.
What happened?
This whole Varnasrum concept starts with us being surrendered to Krishna. Now, it's going to be for Kanistha Adhikaris. It's not going to be for very advanced devotees, it's going to be essentially a commune, a workable commune, so that people don't starve to death when the COVID pandemic reaches
Okay.
its zenith.
So we're at number 7 now. Any money accumulated by government grants, profits from sales of farm products, or money donated by community members will be under the proprietorship of Lord Jagannath, and no money will be used for private personal purposes that are not for the welfare of the entire Deva Varnashram community. That makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, because what if you join the community and you have a inheritance and you can start buying stuff and building up your own place, and nobody else has it? You can't do that. You have to either put it on hold completely while you're there, or donate it to the community, whichever you want to do.
Yeah.
And if you want to join the community and after 2 years you say, I don't want to be here, you can go and take your $100,000 with you if it hasn't been spent. In other
Okay.
words, nobody's going to be in a forced position.
Okay, we're at 8 now. Aspiring members who wish to join the community will be able to put their private assets in a legally administrated community trust. Those who have deposited even large sums of money into the trust will be able to have their assets restored to them if they choose to leave the Deva Varnashram community during the initial period of time. Their assets will not be used until such time as the member would like to see such assets used for developing the community. There will be
Probationary.
a probationary period so that the aspiring members can choose to stay and practice or leave the Deva Varnashram community. Jai, okay. That makes sense.
So you see, this is very different than the Hindu/ISKCON, where the Hindu comes, gives a donation, then expects something. In this case, you come and you become a member, you give up your money. If you change your mind, you can leave. After whatever period of time, your money is kept there, and you see, you can't get your money back unless you leave. So if the money is there in the treasury, it stays there. You don't get any big credit. They said, oh, Mr. Agarwal is such a big donor. Not like that. Whatever you have, whether it's small, large, no record should be kept publicly. Oh, so-and-so came and he's got $100,000. That means he can pretty well kick anybody's butt that he wants. No, not like that, right?
Jai, that makes sense. Right.
Okay, let's keep going. It does make sense because it's from the Krishna conscious point of view.
Yes. No member will keep private cash or other marketplace assets. The eventual end result will be a community that no longer requires money, automobiles, or any outside technology.
In the end, yes, we don't want. Now, to begin with, we're going to have some computers and stuff like that just to be able to communicate with what's left of the world out there, if it still has computers. But essentially, our goal will be to be more like the Amish or the Quakers, just to give it up, give the whole thing up, and you don't need it. But even if we have different Varnashram communities, so I was thinking we have like a library area, which is not freely accessible, but is only accessible on the basis of need. So if you want to contact another Varnashram community 10 miles away, instead of going there in an ox cart, you can email him or talk to him on a cell phone and find out, do you have any, we need some plowshares, can we trade them for milk, something like that. But that's
Okay.
at the beginning.
Right. Okay, so we're here
In
at
the end, say, in 5,000 years, the Varnashram community will not have money, it will not have anything. All it will have is what you can make with your hands in the Varnashram community. I mean, believe it or not, people have been living off the land since time immemorial.
Right.
So we're going back to caveman lifestyle, sheep herder lifestyle.
Okay, let's go to social structure of the Deva Varnasrum society. We want to get to as much as possible here. And then I have
Yes, we'll keep going.
Yes. Social structure of the Deva Varnashram society. All members of the Varnashram society will be fully initiated disciples of Srila Prabhupada, as he is the Sampradaya Acharya. Jai. Okay. 2. All Brahmins will be given second initiation, and others can also be initiated as Brahmins when the need arises. All temple cooking, Shastri classes, Pujari Seva, etc. will be performed by highly trained, twice initiated Brahmins. Right. Okay.
That's what Prabhupada wanted,
Yes.
not what he got.
The 4 Varnas corresponding to the body of Lord Jagannath.
The sacred thread. What?
The 4 Varnas corresponding to the body of Lord Jagannath. Okay.
Yes.
Number 1, the society will be divided into 4 Varnas and will appear as a pyramid-shaped society, and the society members will all be fully initiated disciples of Srila Prabhupada. All members will be considered to be socially equal to one another, although divided into 4 Varnas. Okay. Okay. The 4
That's why a small
Varnas.
community is better. Keep going.
What did you say?
That's why a small community is better.
Yes.
You won't start getting people muscling their way around.
Number 2, the Varnas of the Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra will be designated based on their natural propensity for each category of tasks to be performed. Right? The 4 Varnas will appear, as in all societies in history, in a pyramidal structure with very few at the top as Brahmins, and at the base, the majority as Shudras. Okay. It could be said that with the vast majority of Varnashram society beginning composed of Shudras, and the ultimate purpose of Deva Varnashram society is to feed and care for the Shudras.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you have 80%, if you have 70% Shudras, then what does like if your Shudra is your leg, what does the brain do if you have a pain in your leg? The brain takes care of the leg, right?
Yeah.
What do you use to take care of the leg? You use your arms. And maybe if you're sick to the stomach, you have to change your diet or your leg will get worse. You know, so that's the basic idea. It's integrated.
The Brahmins, the powerful mystic head of Lord Jagannath. Number 1, the Brahmins will be the smallest Varna. They will serve as pujaris, cooks, scholars, and distributors of goods to the other Varnas, as well as serve as the overseers of the other 3 Varnas. Number 2, let's see here.
I missed that there's going to be the Gurukula teachers also.
Yes. Number 2, the Brahmins, assisted by other Varnas, will also prepare and offer to Lord Jagannath at least 20 large daily offerings composed of traditional Vedic recipes cooked in ghee. Jai. Okay. Number 3, these offerings will
Obviate.
obviate. What does obviate mean?
Make unnecessary.
Okay. Make it unnecessary. Jai. All right. Obviate the need for any extensive meal preparation among plus or minus 2,000 participants in the Deva Varnashram society, as they can be fed to their full satisfaction at any time during the day from early morning to late evening. There will be no charge for these opulent and nutritious meals, and members of the Deva Varnashram society will be able to take portions of prasadam to their living quarters for later. The Brahmins will be seen as representing the priestly head of Lord Jagannath. Okay, we are the Kshatriyas. Okay, the Kshatriyas, let me go back up. The Kshatriyas, arms of Lord Jagannath. The Kshatriyas will be the second smallest group, mainly serving as border guards in order to protect the cows, women, children, and all members of society from being attacked by desperate murderers seeking valuable assets.
Marauders.
What?
Desperate marauders.
Oh, marauders. Yes, marauders. Yes, I thought murderers.
That too.
Marauders seeking valuable assets as non-devotees, karmic society at large moves ever closer to complete disintegration.
We're matching this with Prabhupada's exact words.
Yes, it's already happening, right?
Right. We're
The
behind the
Kshatriyas will, right. The Kshatriyas will be compared to powerful arms of Lord Jagannath. The Kshatriyas will evaluate those who come to the checkpoints of the Deva Varnasrum community and take applications from those who seek refuge and wish to join. Okay. The Vaishyas, belly of Lord Jagannath. Prabhu, you wanted to say something?
No.
Okay. The Vaishyas will be agronomists of the Deva Varnashram Dharma.
Agronomist is a agricultural scientist.
Acha, who will refine the cultivation of all vegetables, grains, beans, fodder for desi cows, cotton, linen, and silk fabrics for clothing, etc. 2. The task will be to refine all aspects of farming by breeding and crossbreeding superior specimens of all horticultural grains, desi cows, pack animals, rare flowers, species, etc., in order to maintain the highest quality of farm products, as well as maintaining strict adherence to the highest ancient Vedic standards for cultivating plants. Desi cows and other farm animals for the use by both humans and animals. Number 3. The Vaishyas will maintain the desi cows and will work to refine the breed back to early Vedic Varnashram standards by obtaining the highest quality desi cows from India that can interbreed to increase the genetic quality up to the qualities that were present in primordial Vedic times. The Vaishyas will not engage in business or commerce, nor will any form of monetary.
What happened?
Fiat currency will be required. What does it say? Let's read it again.
Okay. These 3 shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
The Vaishyas will not engage in business or commerce, nor will any form of monetary fiat currency be required.
Yes.
Fiat currency means like paper money.
Yes. Okay. Let me continue.
Keep going. In Varnashram society.
Okay. In Varnashram society, no one will be paid in cash, but in kind as clothing, dwelling spaces, opulent meals from the temple, as well as other goods required for daily life. The Vaishyas will be compared to the mighty belly of Lord Jagannath. All right. So Shudras, mighty legs of Lord Jagannath. Number 1, the Shudras will be drawn from those who, in every society in history, prefer to work with their hands and can do skilled physical tasks of all description. Okay, let's read it again. The Shudras will be drawn from those who, in every society in history, prefer to work with their hands and can do skilled physical tasks of all description. Number 2, by having been given Diksha initiation to be initiated disciples of Srila Prabhupada, the Shudras will be considered to be both socially and spiritually equal to each of the other Varnas. Number 3, the Shudras will help prepare the ingredients for the opulent offering to Lord Jagannath, as well as maintain the warehouse stocks and the transport of goods to the temple warehouses and to the community recipients of such goods free of charge. Note: each Varna will have its own specific rules and regulations and will work under the direction and guidance of the Brahmins and other Varnas according to need. The Shudras will be compared to the mighty legs of Lord Jagannath. Number 4. Even the mightiest, most physically fit, powerful members of human society cannot function effectively without equally powerful legs. Okay, let's go to...
I'm trying to duck the thing that there's a pejorative attached to Shudra.
Okay.
That was created by the British, not by the Vedic culture.
Yeah, the Vedic culture. Yeah, the Shudras knew exactly what they needed to do, right?
Yeah, and they were treated nicely.
Yeah.
But the British turned it more into the British caste system. The British introduced the so-called caste system, not the simple separation of Varnas, which was natural, but they created a prestige-based caste system, such as Burke's Book of Peerage in England, where everybody has to know exactly where they stand in relationship to the royalty of the time. So that the Book of Peerage, Burke's Book of Peerage, describes who's begat who begat who, a genealogy of all the nobility of England, with the result that sometimes people would squabble for 4 hours going in to eat dinner in a banquet hall because they couldn't tell who should walk in first until they settled who had predominance over the other.
Okay, let me just see if we have any comments on our Facebook and YouTube. 1 second here.
There's more, isn't there more to it?
Yeah.
Begat who?
Okay, 1 second. Okay, yes, let's go back. There's no comments or questions. So there's more to it. Okay, the principle of Varnashram Dharma. Rupert, do you want to read, Prabhu?
Sure. The overriding principle of Deva Varnashram Dharma is self-sufficiency, so that when in its final structural format, money, purchased outside machinery, automobiles, electricity, and electronics, etc., will not be required. 2. In the initial stages, there will undoubtedly be a need for a few cars, trucks, electric power, computers, etc. But these items will be used sparingly at the beginning, with limited access to those who require transportation, obtain building materials, etc. i.e., any motorized vehicles, electricity, computers will be kept at the beginning for limited purposes only, and will always be owned only by Lord Jagannath.
Okay, number 3.
As the community develops, communal or semi-communal traditional lodge buildings can be constructed, and the shared use of such buildings will be allocated on the basis of need, not Varna or other distinctions. Whoever has a large family, regardless of Varna, will have a larger domestic enclosure, possibly in the form of a large open lodge, with the lodge buildings partitioned into smaller dwelling units for the convenience of families, women, and children. 4. In this way, mothers of children will be able to enjoy a communal atmosphere where their childcare can be shared, so that women can take turns being free to pursue other tasks, such as weaving saris, designing and creating jewelry, and other activities that they would not be able to do without communal support. 5. Since the vast majority of prasadam will be generated by more than a dozen offerings per day by the Brahmins in the centrally located Jagannath temple, and will be available at no cost to those who wish to take prasadam, no one in the community will need to be concerned about meal preparation, washing pots and dishes, storing food ingredients, finding firewood, or keeping many individual cooking pots, etc. 6. Except for warming milk for babies and children, or simple snacks in between the opulent feasts to be had throughout the day at the spacious Jagannath temple located in the center of the community, no one will need to provide individual living quarters, grihas, for themselves. as required in non-devotee structured karmi society. 7. Temple worship will be practically continuous as well, with emphasis on an early morning kirtan program, prasadam, noon kirtan programs with more prasadam, and then evening arati kirtan and prasadam programs with in-depth classes as well as gurukula, children's educational schooling all throughout the day. In other words, everyone will be engaged in devotional service from morning until night, and no one will have to perform more than their fair share of labor. 8. With no electric lights, everyone will be able to rise at sunrise and take rest not long after sundown. 9. Due to being equally Diksha initiated by Srila Prabhupada, each of the 4 Varnas will be able to function at their own highest capacity in all circumstances. 10. Brahmins will require help from Shudras to maintain the physical temple, husk the grains, weave the cloth, provide kitchen help in the temple, and function in an assistant position wherever required.
Okay. We're just down to 2 more pages. Should I read or you can, Rupa?
You can read.
Okay. Number 1. Since all Varnas will be spiritually equal, the children of Shudras who are working in the temple kitchen, etc., will learn Brahminical standards and practices, with the result that they can certainly become trained as Brahmanas as they make spiritual advancement. 2. Kshatriyas will need much support and help from Shudras, as weapons must be kept in perfect functioning order. Heavy items must be moved around, messages sent and received by couriers, etc. In the event of the smash and grab attacks by underserved outsiders who would rather rape and pillage than work in harmony with others in the Varnasrum community, not only Shudras can be engaged in aiding the Kshatriyas in military defense of the community, but Vaishyas and Brahmins can take up arms to defend the community as well. Women are often very capable warriors as well, particularly when the defense of their children is at stake. Vaishyas will be the greatest Varna body requiring the assistance of Shudras. 4. Shudras will hold the plows while following the ox-driven plows for cultivating the land, and they will also plant, harvest, and process grains and vegetables, as well as weave cloth, plant crops, irrigate the land, maintain and harvest flax and cotton for weaving linen and cotton cloth, while working with and learning from the Vaishyas side by side. They will also milk cows with the Vaishyas and gather cow dung for plowing back into the earth, plastering mud walls, as well as drying cow dung for cooking fuel, etc., exactly as in Indian villages. And 6. Shudras will also pack the grains for storage, create pottery urns for storing ghee, as well as grains, and deliver all completed real wealth items to the sizable warehouse of the Jagannath's temple storage facilities. 7. All children will attend the Gurukul schools together, and as they study, will have gradually divided into suitable varnas, not by birth, but as their natural aptitude are revealed during the expert teachings of the Brahman Gurukula teachers educational staff. Since everything will be the property of Lord Jagannath, all goods such as dhotis, saris, jewelry, ghee lamps, etc., will be distributed by the Brahmins to the members of the entire Deva Varnasram Dharma community according to the need. Number 9. No independent cash transactions will take place, as the owner proprietor of all things needed for the Deva Varnashram Dharma community will be Lord Jagannath. 10. All general rules and regulations regarding how to live comfortably together by the Shastric standard in such a group will be solely determined by the standards explicitly established by Srila Prabhupada via his writings, lectures, kirtan tapes, understanding that as the transparent medium of Lord Krishna, that Srila Prabhupada simply spoke words from his mouth that Krishna gave him to speak, and that Srila Prabhupada is the absolute authority for the remaining 9,400 years remaining of the 10,000-year golden age of Kali. All management decisions will be made in the context of Istagosthi, where all members will have a chance to contribute to the solution of problems, speaking from the platform of pure spirit soul. 12. A guidebook will be published for all Deva Varnashram communities, and every teaching on the topic of Deva Varnashram will be by Srila Prabhupada formed in a Deva Varnashram code that will be used to advance each and every Deva Varnashram project. All right. There we go.
And you can realize that it's sort of amazing, because when I look at it, well, let me ask you, if you look at that, is there anything left is there any doubt as to how the community would work?
No.
Yeah, everything is owned by Lord Jagannath, and according to the Varna and ashrams, people will work. So that is Prabhupada's standard. So anyone.
In a few pages, the entire life of 2,000 people is being generated in these few pages, 7 pages, whatever. Isn't that amazing? Of course, when you actually get down to it, each category will end up with pages and pages and pages to go into detail of this, that, and the other thing, right? But in terms of basic principle, wouldn't you say that if you got washed up with 20 people on a desert island somewhere, and you had this document in your hand, you would know exactly what to do to make a wonderful community where everybody would be living nicely according to their nature?
Narayan, I have a question.
Please.
You talk about printing a manual near the end of the document. And my question is, would there be some sort of printing press?
Oh no, we'll do this hopefully before the roof caves in of the capitalist society, what we turn into slaves or whatever. Even as slaves, we'll have a lot of freedom, you know. You can't enslave everybody 24 hours a day. But like this whole thing, like the vaccine mandate, wait, you mean I can't have a job unless I'm vaccinated? I don't want to be vaccinated. Okay, you lost your job, you lost your income, you lost your retirement. I mean, that sort of demoniac approach to controlling people will be going on. But the fact is that it's not going to be impossible for us to live in that context. So the book, we can print it when there's still printing presses to print with. Like there are quite a number of books right now in Deva Varnasrum. What is the name of the devotee in India, Maharaj, that has the Varnashram communities?
Bhakti Raghava Swami and Bhakti is also trying it.
Bhakti Vikash. And then there's the book that was compiled called Speaking of Vrindavan. I think that's two volumes of it. And so I didn't go through all of those to devise this. I only came to what I consider to be the missing math from New Vrindavan and Gita Nagari. Prabhupada wanted farm communities. And so everybody wanted their own house, they wanted their own car, they wanted their own TV, they wanted their own internet, they wanted everything themselves. And then on that basis, they're willing to get along with each other, maybe. But it never
But
went anywhere.
But the thing is like, for example, we'll need to publish Prabhupada's books. So will we have a printing press?
Oh, yeah, well, make printing presses. Why not? We don't know what will be available then. Maybe they'll be able to do it electronically. Who knows? Right now you can print like this paper here. I sent it by email to Ramachandra. He didn't print it out. He's showing it on the screen. No printing presses involved.
Right.
In fact, a piece of paper didn't get anywhere near any of this document so far. We don't know what the future holds. All we do know is that if you look at archaeology, anthropology, archaeology, every civilization figured out what to do. There were men, women, children, warriors, priests, gods, whatever, it was completely there. They flourished. They went ahead, and people came and slaughtered every man, woman, and child, or they left and went somewhere else. But while they were there, you can come back to the ruins, the archaeological ruins. There's where they slept. There's where they cooked. There's where they put the garbage. There's where they went to the bathroom. I mean, it's not as though people can't figure out how to do those things if you take away the complicatedness of industrial society. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they'll always be a way. I mean, what they did back then is they made documents out of mosaics. They would stick mosaics together and you could read them. Or you could use scrolls and you could write on them with cuneiform, or you write on them with Greek or Roman alphabets or Hebrew alphabets or Arabic alphabets. People just keep on. People know what to do when they have to do something.
People will have to be first educated, I think, on how to live, or at least.
Well, no, they'll have Prabhupada's books.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, they have
Really,
books.
like, if we're sitting here comfortably with our TVs and our kitchens and our gas stoves, and we read Prabhupada's books about people living in Vedic culture, oh, that sounds nice. But what if you don't have anything at all? And you read about it and you say, that sounds as though it's going to work for me now. Because it stops being just a fun scripture and becomes a guidebook for the necessities of life. Does it make sense? In other words, Prabhupada's books seen from the point of view of necessity, not from the point of view of luxury, which is the way they're being seen now. Oh, I read Prabhupada's books, Yeah, what did you get out of it? Well, it's time for dinner. I'm going to go to my kitchen where I have a gas stove and stainless steel cooking pots. And my wife has just cooked me up a nice dal, chapatis, and rice. And we're offering it to our deities. I mean, what if none of that's there? What if you just have the land and individuals and not even any tools? You have to make them, But of course, we're hoping for a transitional period where we can actually get pieces of iron and that we don't have to start mining iron and smelting it ourselves. But who knows what will happen down the line? This is 2021 on the verge of being 2022. Later on, in 2,000 years from now, where is Deva Varnasrum going? Where is the League for 10K going to be fully operable? Is 2,000, 4,000, 6,000 years from now. Imagine. That's what we are doing now, is preparing for 6,000 years from now. And we don't know what's going to be available. But whatever is available, it can be used in Krishna service. The principle that will be available, which was not necessarily what was there, because all these religions had hierarchical priests, and then they had kings, and they had all this stuff there. they were not running a community like Deva Varnasrum with cows at the center not being slaughtered. They slaughtered the cows. They slaughtered everything. They slaughtered the Jews didn't slaughter pigs, but I mean, everybody else slaughtered. They all slaughtered something, because they had a hierarchical thing where they're looking at God as somewhere else, way up there on the other side of the sky somewhere. We're operating with Krishna being in our heart, or Krishna being in our house, Krishna being in the holy name that we chant. And that is the deity, is the holy name of Krishna. That deity, when I say deity, I mean compared to Jehovah or Allah or stuff like that, or God the Father, all of that. We no longer require these religions. But Lord, I like it's just so amazingly almost amusing to me that supposing you go into a village and it has like a mosque and a church and a synagogue and all these different Hindu temples and all of that stuff. And you go in and say, what are you looking for? Oh, if you follow our practice, you will eventually find God and your relationship with God. Oh, okay. Then supposing Lord Chaitanya walks in, and Lord Chaitanya is the Yuga avatar. He said, what are you doing? Oh, we're trying to find God. Well, now I chopped liver. Here I am, God, Krishna, here I am. Oh, no, we're looking for Jehovah. Blah, 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 blah. There's only one God. Yeah, but who's to say you're God? Well, Shastra, Guru Shastra Sadhu. What is that? They can't accept it, right? But if they could accept it, they would say, oh, thank goodness, let's throw down all of our religious articles, our books, and our faith, and our practices, and burning people at the stake, and all that other good stuff that's good entertainment for the weekends, like gladiators, let's throw that all away and simply chant Hare Krishna. What's the authority? The Yuga avatar. Who's the Yuga avatar? You see that person over there that's gold colored? That's him. Oh, who's him? He is Radha and Krishna combined. Then they have to understand who is Radha and Krishna. But the actual fact is that once the Yuga avatar is present, then there is nothing more that needs to be understood or done. So trying to answer your question, Rupa Manjari, whatever we need, we'll be able to have based upon our relationship with Krishna. Do we need printing presses or do we need ink and scrolls? We don't know. Bamboo hammered together or papyrus? What do we need? All these things have been used since time began, but they've never been used except 5,000 years ago. And no history that we're aware of goes back beyond 5,000 years. Or they can look at cavemen and they can look at this and dinosaurs, but that's not pointless. Because the Dwapara Yuga with Krishna personally present ended 5,000 years ago. King Yudhisthira did the Rajasuya sacrifice. And what was that? It was establishing Krishna as a deity rather than a fastidious, mischievous little kid or a guy that grew up to dance with gopis or marry 108 wives or go to the battle of Kurukshetra and drive a chariot. All of those are pastimes, but they don't comprise a deity. So Yudhisthira consolidated Krishna as the most honored person by the Rajasuya sacrifice. That's what it's for. And then from that point onward, we had deities to worship. Otherwise, Krishna would not have been understandable by anybody in Kali Yuga. Does it make sense? Hello?
Some questions on Facebook, on YouTube.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Okay, let's see here.
Hopefully you can answer them.
Yeah, hopefully. Let's see here. One devotee asked for, what did he say? Where's this picture of Lord Jagannath G with two legs? I would like to see this. So I sent him the link where he can see the picture of Lord Jagannath with.
You have, I sent it to you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He has a special name, Nimachala or something of that sort, but I forget. It's a complicated thing with Lord Jagannath. And remember, it's very tightly linked together with pig farmers.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Anyone here have any more questions? Prabhu's?
You see,
Vinayak Prabhu's here. He's
the
been
king
listening.
sent his minister to find, he wanted the daughter of the pig farmer. She was very beautiful. He wanted the beautiful pig farmer's daughter. And then they found out that she was going off into the woods, into a place, and there was a deity, and that's the deity with two legs, Jagannath. And then, you see, it's a complicated story, but it's heavily relying on pigs and pig farming in Jagannath Puri only.
And Moses
Change our,
Singh-
name.
Huh?
Change our names, Ramachandra Singh Prabhu does.
Yes, yes, 1 second. Moses Prabhu also said, after the transition is completed, organized religion will be obsolete.
Well, yes. YES in big, large, neon colored, gigantic letters. Yes. Exclamation point also. Yes. Except for one detail. All religion has been obsolete for 500 years now. It's just that, you know, sometimes you don't realize what's gone on.
Hare Krishna Rishadev.
Rishabdev's right here. Oh, really? Did he get to
Hare
hear any
Krishna
of this?
Prabhu.
Did he get to read anything? Hear anything
Hare-
from the
Hare Krishna, brother.
Hare Krishna.
So anyhow, 500 years ago, religion ceased to exist. Did that stop people from continuing religion? And guess what else ceased to exist 500 years ago? This is hitting me bit by bit in little increments. That what's left of the Vedic culture is erased. Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, erased. Not in our Deva Varnasrum communities, but it's erased from human society. The kings couldn't maintain themselves against Alexander the Great and Cyrus the Great. So they ceased to be valuable. And that went on for a while with the Mughals and all that. Then when Lord Chaitanya appeared, he erased Indian religion. He erased Hindu. He erased Christian. He erased Jain. He erased Zoroastrianism. He erased everything.
No lo spegno l'albero.
Okay, lo spengo.
¿Cómo? ¿Hablas español?
He was speaking to his dad. I muted him.
Who is?
Mahaprabhu was.
Oh, you speak Italian, not Spanish.
Oh, no. Okay. Any questions from the devotees here? Vinayak Prabhu, Rishabdev Prabhu?
No, Prabhu, thank you so much.
All right.
So Vinayak Prabhu, is this sort of a jolt, this idea of Deva Varnasrum? It's something Prabhupada really wanted, but none of the ISKCON devotees were willing to do it. You know, they wanted to be big managers of an international corporation. You know, Prabhupada didn't want ISKCON to be an international corporation. It seems almost impossible to imagine. Well, what do you mean? We have the headquarters in Mayapur. They have big meetings, corporate meetings there every year for the GBC. No, Prabhupada wanted each temple to be individually incorporated. That means each temple is ISKCON all by itself and guided, and to some degree, guided, yes, by the GBC, elected GBC.
Yeah,
So if the GBC is elected, then they can be unelected. But when they're elected, they can just go from temple to temple, helping them develop the deity worship, helping develop prasadam programs. And then when they have that under their belts and they're all wearing dhotis instead of karmi clothes in the temple, the way it was in Detroit when I went there, and Buffalo when I went there, and not New York. New York was well established, but I taught them all how to do the deity worship in New York. And you believe it? That's where the movement started. But I knew how to do the 7 articles. So I was doing the job that the GBC, Prabhupada wanted the GBC to do. Just go from temple. The GBC goes to a new temple and helps them get it set up according to the highest standard in the highest standard temple. And because the GBCs travel from temple to temple, even if the temple they came from as a GBC, temple president became GBC, even if he came from there, and it's not very high level, well, he now goes to a higher level temples. When he goes back to his own temple after 3-year term is up, he can make his own temple that high level too. It's sort of like a cooperative venture.
Yeah, so Prabhu, how about following Manu Smriti for Varnasrama Dharma? Like all the rules are already written there. That the rules that we are trying to make.
But if it's not written since Lord Chaitanya, in other words, if it's not written by Prabhupada, it won't help us very much. It's anecdotal. All the Vedas are no longer, we read them, but we don't live by them. Why? Who is qualified to live by the Vedas? We think we are. We're not. Whatever Prabhupada gave us to read, we can read it. But can we live it? What are we going to read the Srimad Bhagavatam, and next year we're going to make palaces and Brahmins and cows and warriors and Kshatriyas with big bows that shoot 5 arrows at a time? Are we going to do that? No, it's anecdotal. It tells us what life was like before 5,000 years ago.
Yeah, so Prabhu, how about...
We're not going to be learning from the scriptures. We learn from Prabhupada's instructions. And that's Lord Chaitanya. If the only deity worship required is to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, of course we do have deity worship in the temples, but it's according to Prabhupada's standard, not according to the Varnasrum standards of 5,000 years ago. That's finished. It's all gone. It's us, Malachas,
Yeah.
chanting
And
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. And Prabhu, how about using Yukta Vairagya in Varnasrama in this society?
Explain.
For example, Yukta Vairagya, like just like Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur did, like we may use the modern amenities like cars and printing presses and communication tools like phones and everything. And simultaneously, the community can also survive without any hard labor or without running behind cash or these things, because the food, medicine, and everything would be taken care of by the temple. And sometimes some people may engage in different occupations which require having communications with outer world and having monetary transactions. Or sometimes maybe people from outer world come and offer something to Jagannath, and that money could be utilized for some more things, so that it would be an example for Yukta Vairagya Varnashram community.
Yes, well, that's what Prabhupada is asking. But what we're really looking at is not just a nice Varnashram community in the middle of New York City. We're talking about a nice Varnashram community instead of New York City. They're in the process of destroying themselves, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, this can only work in tropical countries, practically.
No, not really. It could work anywhere.
Yeah, because
But
these kind of situations in which we have to use like cow dung cakes for fuel and everything. If a country is there with a lot of humidity and lot of snow, like we cannot use that practically.
You don't think there are cows in the middle of the frosty Midwestern United States?
Yeah, but they cannot dry the cow dung cakes
Why not?
because it's too cold.
No, you know how to do it, of course, because you're in India, you know how to do it, or you're from India. And
Yeah,
you take the cow dung and you pat it into a patty and you stick it on the mud, on
yeah,
the mud wall.
yeah.
And
It dries in one day.
sure, it'll take longer to dry in the winter, but if it's under the roof and it's not raining, you don't have a problem.
Mm. Yeah, because
But and that's not required. You know, making cow dung for cooking is not required. It's just another way of using cow dung if you're in a dry or tropical place. But as you say, but the cow dung, the cow dung can be plowed back into the earth. And it's Rupa Majori, can you tell me what the desi cow urine has specially derived from the hump of the desi cow?
yeah, and there also is a requirement of like good sunlight for good crops, so that we can get in tropical countries.
Well, yeah, but I mean, whatever it does, we're going to have Deva Varnasrum all over the world.
Mhm.
It's not. This is not a elegant getaway to a fancy resort. Although you could make a fancy resort that works like that, it would be amazing, right? You have a thing that costs zero to operate, and then people come and pay thousands of dollars to stay in a cabin and watch us do it. I actually wanted to do that in Jagannath Puri, is create a village where people would be 5-star village. People would pay, a couple of $1,000 a night to come and live in a bamboo hut and learn how to weave with their hands and churn butter with a small churn that's rubbing to stick together. How to do things 5,000 years ago. We would have it all set up for them, and there would be tons of money. And what would we do with the tons of money? Is we wouldn't spend it on ourselves, of course. We would use it to make more such exemplary communities for people to see how was it possible to live without machinery at one time before in human society.
Yeah, such villages can still be found in some parts of India, like self-sufficient and
So India we could do, but there's another problem in India, is if you do something like that, how can you protect it? India
yeah,
is completely swamped with lots of people.
yeah,
If you
yeah,
come up with something where you got all of that, people are going to come either bakshis, baba bakshis, bakshis. They want to beg from you, or they will want to come and take it away from you with guns.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. So practically in Yukta Vairagya, we would also require these weapons for defense.
yeah,
Modern
well, that's
weapons.
it. You see. Yeah. Now I didn't put this in this particular paper, but Srila Prabhupada, there will be people coming to rape and pillage in the villages that we create. And that's what the Kshatriyas are for. They have to protect. So I have a little mental image that I came up with, that a guy comes to and he wants to come in and rape and pillage and break open your granary and take sacks of grains to where he lives. And you say to him, well, you've come at this particular moment, instead of raping and pillaging or whatever you're planning to do, why don't you come and we're having lunch now. Would you like to have some lunch? Have you eaten recently? Oh, I haven't eaten in 4 days. Well, then Moldemar, sit down. Here's a leaf plate. Eat. Here, this is delicious, he says. What is it? Oh, it's cooked in ghee. What's ghee? It's cow fat produced from milk, not from slaughtering the cow. Really? I never heard of such a thing. And so he sits there and eats the wonderful prasadam. And then he practically becomes sad. And he says, I'm so sad. Why are you so sad? You just eaten nicely. Because I have not got this community like you. I said, well, why don't you come and join us? You seem like a nice fellow. Why don't you come and join our community? Can I? Yes. Well, I have no place to live. We'll provide you a place to live. You will? And what do I do? Exchange. Well, you're a raper and pillager. What you can do is stay here with us at the border and keep people like you out. If they don't want to be nice people and join. If you have bad people, let's get rid of them. You can help us get rid of them. Well, as a warrior, you came here on a motorcycle with a crossbow, or you came here on a horse with an AR-15 rifle, well, now you can use those things to defend the community that's feeding you and give you a place to sleep. And he's so happy. He's just basically with tears in his eyes. Then again, he becomes terribly depressed. He said, why are you depressed now? Oh, I didn't tell you, but I have a wife, three children. I could leave them. I could join your community, but I can't feel good about leaving them. What will they do? They're depending on me for food and for shelter and for clothes. So, well, you didn't mention you had a wife and children. Bring them with you. We'll give you a bigger place to live in. He says, are you out of your mind? I said, no, you can join us. All it means no meat, fish or eggs, no gambling, follow the 4 regulated principles, come to the classes, work in the fields or work at the border. You'll be a kshatriya. You're going to be defending the community against people just like you that want to come and rape and pillage. And said, so you're welcome. Okay, that's one little communication. Now, let's have state chapter 2. Chapter 2 is a guy comes, same sort of guy, looking ferocious with a gun or with whatever he's got. And he comes in and he said, I want to kill your cows and take off with your women. He said, well, before you do that, that's an ambitious thought. Before you do anything like that, do you want to have lunch? Said, lunch? What do you have to eat? And he said, here is this kitchen. Sabji is cooked with paneer and ghee. Well, I have meat? No, we don't eat meat. Well, I don't want to eat anything that doesn't have meat. You can forget about it. Just get out of my way and I'll kill a cow and then I'll have something to eat. I'll cook it and eat the meat. He said, wait, no. So you don't want to eat the meat. Will you chant Hare Krishna? What's that? Krishna means all attractive source of life. God. No, I just want to kill a cow and rape some women and take off with a bunch of haunches attached to my motorcycle here. And so what Prabhupada said was, back in 1968, Jadharani, the artist, was there and some other devotees. And he said, in the end, there will come a time where we'll ask people, will you chant Hare Krishna? And they'll say no. And then you pull out a gun and shoot them dead. So everybody was amazed. Here's Prabhupada, sannyasi, holy man, talking about, say, chant Hare Krishna or we'll kill you. That just didn't fit, really. And Jadharani, being an aggressive type of lady, still is. She said, oh, Prabhupada, can I do some killing of these people too? She wanted to know. We're all shooters or less than shooters. Can I shoot some of these too that don't chant Hare Krishna? Prabhupada said, no, he laughed. He said, let your God brothers do that. He was just giving a story, but we never understood it. I understood it when it came to this little story that I just told you. One man can come in and he can join us and fight off a second type of guy in chapter 2 who wants to simply rape and pillage and kill the cow and take the haunch with him back to his village. Do you want to chant Hare Krishna? No. Pull out your gun, shoot him dead. What can you do? You can't give him amnesty. He'll simply come back again. Kill him. If the good guy comes, bring him in. If the bad guy comes, kill him. He won't take part. He won't take prasadam. He won't join the community. He won't chant Hare Krishna. Then shoot him. So that was Prabhupada's instruction. Hansaduta took him so literally, so he became a good, very dear friend of mine, senior devotee that was born and raised in Germany. He actually had his Sankirtan devotees with shoulder holsters with Glock pistols in them because of that instruction. But obviously, he didn't understand the context well enough to understand you're not just going to shoot people in the streets of Canada or Washington State if they don't chant Hare Krishna. It takes a dynamic situation. And I waited for dozens of years to understand why did Prabhupada say you don't chant Hare Krishna, then you shoot him. Why? How? Then when I started thinking of Deva Varnasrum, it became obvious. The people come to destroy what you have, and you've got beautiful cows that are giving lots of milk. And we remember that the paper said, protected, not for cow protection, protected by cows. Cows like your mother gives milk. So you have all of that nice there. Some bad guy's going to come, won't chant Hare Krishna, you have to shoot him. Okay? So is that, I'd used up a lot of time, but is that okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
So did you catch what I meant?
Yeah.
And more importantly, did you catch what Prabhupada meant?
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing here. One of the main tasks of the League for 10K is create. Did you hear the whole paper or just part of it?
I heard a part of the paper, not whole.
Okay, well, Ramachandra can email it to you.
Yes,
Or
I'll share it in the
Rupa Bajaj
WhatsApp
can-
group.
It's published?
No, I'll share it right now.
Okay, so Ramachandra is going to show it. That means you can download it from WhatsApp?
Yes.
That's fantastic. See, we're getting started. This is what our website's going to do, but we'll have the website operating before we have a website, because we'll have these different items that need to be dealt with. And when we get the website, then people can go to the website. But even without the website, which we'll have shortly, hopefully in a month or so, hopefully, these pieces of document, then there's also the direction of management, all these other things that Prabhupada created that were destroyed. Do you know how bad the disciples were? Prabhupada created the GBC. They refused to become elected. And they said, we don't need 12 GBC, just one. And he said to Prabhupada, you sit tight and translate, and we will run the movement. They thought they could do better. I remember at that time, knowing these people, they all said, well, Prabhupada is a great sadhu and he knows everything, but spiritual stuff. But he's from India, and they were thinking like that. And he doesn't understand corporate structure the way we do. We're Americans. We can understand it. We have General Motors, Ford Corporation, Chrysler Corporation. We have so many corporations, big factories. We know how to do this. But Prabhupada didn't want that. Prabhupada wanted each temple to be individual, incorporated. That means you don't get any politics, you don't get anything going. Each temple can have maybe 20 people in it. That's fine. 50, 100 people, that's fine. But if you get 100 people, you should send some of them out to open new temples. Why keep so many people? What for? Just for eating, sleeping, mating, and attending? That's not the main purpose of Krishna consciousness. Oh, if you're a householder, you can get away with all of those things. But what if you're not a householder? Suppose you're a brahmachari. Yeah, you have to eat, and you eat, you sleep, you pus, blood, stool, urine, so many nice things. Prabhupada said, it's the human body. So as a Kinsadakari, we have to do all these nice things like pus, blood, stool, and urine. But what we're doing with the League for 10K is we're turning it all around and making it what Prabhupada said that he wanted. Why would we do that? There's so many gurus. Why Prabhupada? Why would we do what Prabhupada said? He was there, and now they have new gurus. Why Prabhupada? Because Prabhupada, different than anybody else except maybe Bhaktisiddhanta and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Prabhupada is an Uttamadhikari. And just imagine, I'm asking everybody who is either is or should be listening, just imagine when Prabhupada opened his mouth and spoke, we thought, oh, here's this beautiful, shimmering, transparent-ish sort of human, sort of pure devotee person from India speaking. No, dude, you heard Krishna speaking through Prabhupada. Just like when Prabhupada said to Paramatma, make me dance like a puppet on a string. He didn't suggest that he was going to become Vishnu with 4 arms. No, Vishnu with 4 arms was going to make him dance like a puppet. So Krishna and Krishna Loka spoke through Prabhupada, and we all thought it was Prabhupada speaking. We didn't realize we were hearing Krishna speaking. And of course, Prabhupada is an individual jiva also, so he did speak. He added things in, he told risque jokes sometimes. I mean, he did all sorts of things. But the main thing, particularly anything that's instructive, like his books, the contents of his books, those didn't come from an elderly gentleman that was born and raised in Calcutta and then went to Radha Temple to translate the Srimad Bhagavatam. That came from Krishna. His books came from Krishna. The sooner we grasp that, the sooner we'll see the difference between Prabhupada and any other sort of guru, whether Hindu or Christian or ISKCON guru. They're all just there shopkeepers. They're just taking care of the shop. And they say, to get people to stay in the temple, they say, oh, yes, I am your guru. You should bow down to me and give me your life. They don't know what they're getting into. If you give your life to that guru and he dies and then you die, you'll go to wherever he goes, which will assuredly not be directly back to Godhead, back to Krishna Loka. Going back to God, I think that Lord Chaitanya arranged it with the Yuga Avatar scenario that we, who are more or less at the beginning, right? We are at the beginning. I'm at the beginning. I heard Prabhupada in 1968, I took initiation. So because I took initiation in 1968, that's the beginning of the ISKCON movement. 1966 is the beginning of ISKCON movement. Bhaktisiddhanta, all that, we can talk, but they did not accomplish what Prabhupada accomplished, and they were not meant to. It wasn't that Bhaktisiddhanta didn't have the Shakti to create the Krishna movement. It was 1, 2, 3. Bhaktivinoda, Bhaktisiddhanta, Srila Prabhupada. So the Sampradaya ends with Srila Prabhupada. Now, every man for himself. Run for the lifeboats. Grab a chunk like a brick of the holy name, a glowing red brick of the holy name. Grab up the holy name and take it to your end of the lifeboat. That's the idea. No more gurus. If you think you need a guru, Lord Chaitanya says, I'm the Yuga Avatar. What do you need a guru for? I gave you the holy name. Well, you want the guru to give you the holy name? You have the holy name. If you hear it, it's a Shakti Avatar. It doesn't require a human being's tongue, pus, blood, stool, and urine human being to hand you Krishna's holy name. And if you want to hear the pure devotee chanting the holy name, just pick up your iPhone and dial into the intranet, and you can hear Prabhupada for 20 hours straight without stopping if you want. The holy name. See, that's the reality now. And it's hard for all of us, including myself, to grasp it. It's much easier to think of ISKCON as another group in earth, and it's doing the wrong thing because their gurus aren't bona fide. They should have Prabhupada for guru. Yes, yes, yes. But what's the real bottom line? The bottom line is if you get the holy name, you don't need a guru. That's why you don't need the ISKCON guru. What's he going to give you? The holy name? You got it. Anyhow, I've talked a lot. Ramachandran, can you talk a lot, please?
You're the guy that talks a lot. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. Mahaprabhu, any questions? Rupa Manjari, we got devotees making a lot of comments online, so I'll share those. Let me
Definitely.
see.
So this produced comments. This lecture, this talk, this reading produced comments.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me see.
We have more things to read. But we could read this
Mhm.
10 times in a row, and not everybody would grasp every bit of it. So we don't need to hesitate to read it more than once.
Let me
But
see the
anyhow.
comments. 1 second. Let me load up the
Yes, please.
comments. All right. Moses Singleton Prabhu's made a lot of comments. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Share screen. Okay, Moses Singleton Prabhu, I think he's in New York. He's been watching and a constant viewer on YouTube. So he made several statements and comments. Due to the Great Awakening, we are in the transition now. A lot is going on behind the scenes. Then he says the Seren Hardin corridor has been halted by the White Hat Military Worldwide Octagon Group has been held. Then he says silent. This is all a part of the transition into the golden lotus age of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Spoke about everything is interconnected. What I mentioned is just a small example of it. Then he comments here, how the movie ends will not be for everyone, but then he talks about in Sri Krishna's name and his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's instructions and guidance. Then Moses Prabhu says, even though I am a devotee, I stay informed on the geopolitical landscape, though I do not participate directly in its happenings and have access to the comms of these activities. Many of the devotees must become aware that ISKCON of today will cease to be as it is currently constituted and become what Srila Prabhupada envisioned. So-called gurus that we see today will not be alive when this is all said and done. Then
This is wonderful.
Then he
You
says,
see,
the,
with what we're doing with this reading of Varnasrum, with the website, we're going to be gathering up people like that by the bundle. Bundles of people like that. Keep going.
Then Prabhu says, the very structure of society will be changed. This great awakening has ramifications, not just here on an Earth planet, but the whole solar system itself and life that exists elsewhere in the solar system. What to speak of the galaxy, but I've said, watch the show and play your part as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desires as well as Srila Prabhupada. I would like to say more, but since I am under NDA, I cannot, but my arms and heart rest with Srila Prabhupada and Sri Krishna.
NDA, what's that?
I don't know. He can elaborate on that. Moses Prabhu, what's NDA? If you're watching.
Non-disclosure agreement.
Oh, okay. Non-disclosure agreement. Okay.
I mean, that's just my
What-
guess. I'm not sure.
Well, that's what NDA is actually.
Right.
Very brilliant, very good observation. Now, the thing is that what non-disclosure agreement is he in?
He'll tell us next time.
He'll tell us next time. But this is interesting. You see, he's aware of all of this chaos that's going on. We're presenting the solution as the chaos is developing right now, meaning, vax mandates is just a way of saying, do what I say, not what I do, and obey, or you'll be destroyed. So that's what American democracy or republic is turning into right now. He sees that, and then he recognizes the solution as Lord Chaitanya. I don't know about galaxies. As far as I know, Lord Chaitanya is only dealing with planet Earth. But who knows? Everybody is welcome. I have no desire to restrict anyone.
Okay. Who's next?
Anybody else?
No, that's about it for the comments. Moses Singleton Prabhu, thank you very much for always watching and commenting. Jai Prabhu.
Wonderful. Has he been on the league before?
No, he participates by watching the Zoom meetings on YouTube. So he
Oh, that's
comments.
amazing.
Yeah.
Great. Well, why not encourage him? Say that we're making a website in which our where
knows.
does this term, where does
He
the
knows.
word, the phrase "the Great Awakening" come from?
Maybe he can answer that question. Moses Prabhu, where does this term Great Awakening come from? I don't know. Actually, he'll probably answer that question in a few
He
minutes.
may not answer because it's much later in New York right now than it is here.
I think he's in New York, but I think he's at work, so he has some
Ah.
free time. Okay, so any more questions? Who's that? Okay, Rishabh Dev is here. Mahaprabhu.
But do you like the term "the Great Awakening"?
Yeah, a lot of people are using that term, the Great Awakening.
Who's using it?
Online, the Great Reset, the Great Awakening.
Oh, this is in the Karmi world.
Yeah, in the Karmi world, yes.
They use awakening. I know the reason. Well, this is the Great Awakening. That should be our theme, right?
Right.
Do you have your permission to use it?
You can use anything you like.
No, I can only use what is allowed.
Well,
I
you're
have an NDA.
you're
I
the
have
boss.
an NDA. I have to be careful about my NDA.
Non-disclosure agreement, right?
Yeah.
All right. So,
Yeah.
Rishabh Dev Prabhu, what's going on, Prabhu? You've been quiet.
Did Rishabh Dev work out something where he can play his thing through his phone to us, or not yet?
I think he's doing that. He's getting ready for that. Can you do something? Rishabh Dev Prabhu, can you play something?
Well, I would suggest that if he has a recording, which he has, can he play the recording through his phone into the Zoom call?
No, that cannot happen. I'll have to share the link.
It'd be the same as his speaking, wouldn't it?
He can play it and we can watch it, but
Yeah, that's the idea. That's what I meant.
no, play it like live. He's playing right there and we can hear it.
Well, live he can't do it exactly. He does a program and he's got a lot of people listening to it.
All the videos he can share. I can share those on the WhatsApp group. So
That's the idea, yeah.
try. Okay.
I don't know if he had one set up for you, or how would he get it to you?
No, just send me the link. That's it. The YouTube link or Facebook link or whatever link he has.
Oh, he's online. Why don't you talk to him?
I think he sent me his link. Prabhu, can you send the link one more time so I can share the link for 10K group?
Yes, Prabhu.
Jai, okay.
Jai.
Let's see if I have any more comments here. Link for 10K.
So if there's no more comments, and while he's getting the link set up, but not instead of the link, why don't you give your understanding of that proposal?
Oh, that Deva Varnasrum. Yeah, I have to get that book. Well, we have the book, the soft copy on the Bhaktivedanta archives. So I will go through that book. I'll make an audio book.
Which book?
The compiled lectures and conversations about Deva Varnasrum by Srila Prabhupada. That
Is it the one called Speaking of Varnasrum?
yes, that one.
Yeah, I have it only in hard copy.
Oh, you have it in hard copy? Yes. They don't publish that no more, so that's only in the Bhaktivedanta archives. I can't find them online.
You can't? Oh, the books themselves?
Yeah.
No, he only printed like 2,000 of them, I think.
Yeah. Only
That was
2000.
like 20 years ago.
Yes, yes.
There's another book in Australia, and you know who knows what that book is? What am I saying? The mother of the guy that does the cows in Hawaii,
Anuttama.
Anuttama Higgins.
Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Rishabh
So
Prabhu
if you could contact Prabhu, it's possible you could contact Anuttama Higgins and find out how we can get that book online, if it's online.
Okay, yeah, I'll contact Higgins and get her mother's contact information. She's in Australia, huh?
No, she's in Oregon, Washington, or maybe Northern California, but I think she's in Washington.
Oh,
State.
Anuttama.
She has a small cow project.
Oh, that is Narayan Higgins' mother, huh? I didn't know that. Anuttama.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And she
Interesting.
was married to her husband. Rupa, do you remember her husband's name?
Billy Budd.
What? Oh, no, that's her karmic husband. Her original husband. Higgins. I think it's James Higgins, but what is his?
Nischintya?
Yes, Nischintya. How could I forget that? Yeah, Nischintya Higgins is the father of the Higgins in Hawaii and the former husband of Anuttama Higgins.
Hmm. Okay.
So if you get in touch, that would be great, because she has a book. It was supposed to be given to me, but the guy that went in 2007, he brought it from Australia to give to me, but then he ended up having a disagreement with me, so he gave it to Anuttama instead. I wanted it because I wanted to use it, but it's okay. We can use it now.
Do you know what was the book called?
Make Vrindavan.
What?
Make Vrindavan.
Make Vrindavan. Okay, let me see if it's in the Bhaktivedanta.
No, that's not the book from Australia, is it?
I think it is.
No, Make Vrindavan Villages is the one from that sannyasi in India.
All right. Okay, so any more questions, discussions, Prabhu? We got about 20 minutes.
Why not have everybody discuss the Varnasrum Dharma concept and see what they think of it? Whoever's on our session tonight.
Yeah, this Varnasrum, Deva Varnasrum, it really makes sense, but the application of it and timing and this, it's like, it seems like it'll take some years, many years to.
No, why?
Hmm?
Why? If you can get a piece of land of a couple of thousand acres and it has water,
A couple of thousand acres to, New Vrindavan, there's a couple of thousand acres, no?
Yeah, well, they used to have, I don't know if I think they're probably down to 500 now. They used to have 4,000 acres. But they kept selling the land to eat, sleep, and even defend.
Right. That's too bad. There's some devotees in Vrindavan trying to do this Varnashram lifestyle with a couple of acres of land. So.
What do you mean, Iskal?
No, it's not Iskal. It's some devotee named Rishabh Dev and another devotee named Yudhishthira Prabhu, Yudhishthira Das. They've been in Vrindavan quite some time. They're like 75 years old. So
Yeah.
they have a couple of
That's
cows.
wonderful. Protecting cows is better than killing cows, right?
Yeah, and they're trying to move
But
it.
that does not create, what we're talking about in this paper is how to solve a problem for human society, not how I buy some land, I buy some cows, I own the cows, I own the land.
They said it's not, no one is owning the land. It belongs to the trust, which they have. So yeah, it's no one personally owning the land.
The land belongs to the trust. The cows belong to the trust.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll have a
But-
conversation with them over the week and see what,
Okay, good.
I'll arrange for the conversation with them.
But make sure they get a copy of the paper first,
Yeah, I'll send it to them. Yes.
because that paper is the missing ingredients from every cow project ISKCON has ever tried to do.
The cow project basically in ISKCON means that I have some cows, I protect some cows, I get some money and make the business go on. That's basically the cow project. It's nothing to do with,
In other words, I'm a cow farmer, cattle rancher that doesn't slaughter the cows.
basically.
That's not even a million miles from solving a human problem. We're not trying to solve, maybe, I see I'm too old for this sort of thing, but we're not trying to solve a problem for ourselves. We're trying to solve a problem for the golden age of Kali. What are people going to do when human society begins to disintegrate? How are they going to live? And we're saying this is how you can live if you're a devotee. Of course, you don't have to do that. You can get a cow and live on your land and get a gun and defend your property when people come to try to steal your cow. It's not as though that you can't do that. That's what karmi farmers have done since time began.
Right.
So we're not trying to become karmi farmers. I mean, for me, it doesn't matter. I was born on a farm. So my being born on a farm means I was dealing with animals day in and day out, 24/7. So it's not that I want to learn how to take care of cows or animals. I know how to take care of animals. I've done it. I did it for how many years? 17 years. What I'm trying to find is a way of implementing Prabhupada's suggestion that we create a means of sustaining cows. Right now, oh yeah. Okay. So here's a book that I have that is written by Bhakta Raghava Swami, Make Vrindavan Villages in Support of Varnasrum Dharma. And then
Okay.
Bhakta Raghava Swami wrote another book called Towards a Global Varnashram Culture, the Standard and Scientific World Order, Select Articles, News, and Essays. Now, I haven't read these, but essentially what I've come up with is talking about algorithms, come up with the formula for how to do it, how to make it this way or that way. You're still going to have Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. If you don't have the division, then you don't have Varnashram. Varnashram means Varna and Ashram. So you have to have 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. And that will make it work. But you see, devotees don't like the idea that they're going to be called a Shudra.
They're already a Shudra. I mean, what's the difficulty?
Not even a Shudra. Malachas are not yet Shudras.
Yes, yeah. What's the What did he say?
I'm sorry.
What's the question of fallen when you're you're already fallen, right?
Well, the whole thing about Lord Chaitanya breaking open the storehouse of love of God, releasing the holy name from a atmosphere in which you had to be completely initiated a million times over to have access to the holy name. He broke open the storehouse of love of God, and he can do it because it's his holy name. After all, he's God. He broke open the storehouse and he made the holy name available to every creature, including animals, plants, and bugs, ants. In my case, he used the example of ants.
Hmm.
Okay? So when you break open the storehouse of love of God, then you don't longer have any designation of Shudra, Vaishya, Malacha, whatever.
Hmm.
Because everybody, there aren't any. Even the Brahmins in India are no longer Brahmins. You know,
Right. They have separate jobs and stuff.
yeah. Yeah, I had that joke, you know, when I was on the train going to Navadvip, and there was this guy looking at me very scornfully. I was dressed in a dhoti and all that, tilak, heading towards Mayapur. And before there were any people in Mayapur, I was the only person living there really. And I saw this guy, he's smoking a filter tip, Will's filter flake cigarette. He's smoking a cigarette. And he's looking at me like I'm a piece of dirt, you know, or worse, piece of crap, you know, it's a dog crap, poof. So he's looking at me like that, and I'm chanting on my japa beads, and he's looking at me sort of like, what right do you have to be even in front of my eyes, you know, like, so you don't deserve to. Why am I cursed to see you in front of me? Sort of the way his look looked like. And so I thought I would say something, you know, I was dressed dhoti, kurta, the whole works. I looked at him and said, excuse me, sir, may I ask you a question?
You got muted. Yes.
What? It speaks, meaning the creature, me, speaks. And so I said, and he looked at me, I asked him a question, can I ask you a question? He looked at me, his eyes sparked some spots. He said, sir, are you perhaps yourself a Brahmin? I said, very deferentially. He said, yes, he said, standing up very straight. He's wearing pants, you know, khadi pants and shirt, but very white. He stood up, very pale-faced guy, and he looked down at me and said, yes, how did you know? And I said, because you're smoking a filter tip, Will's filter tip cigarette. He's a Brahmin smoking a cigarette. Smoking Will's filter tip cigarette. If you're not a Brahmin, you would be smoking a bidi. That smacked him across the head like a 2x4.
You probably fell down upside down.
Something like that, psychologically at least. I mean, I completely tore him apart from the inside out, right? I mean, what the hell is a Brahmin doing smoking any sort of cigarette?
Yeah. Try, right.
So that was my cute little sense of humor. So that's what I'm saying about, we're all like these, we're all malachas. He was a malacha. He's a Brahmin, he's a malacha Brahmin, smoking a cigarette.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He's a Brahmin, he can't follow the four regulated principles.
Yeah. But Brahman cannot follow the four regulated principles, right?
Oh, there you go. So that means that there are no, and I'm saying this for everyone's benefit, not yours, you already know everything. I'm talking about whoever's listening, that Lord Chaitanya broke open the storehouse of love of God and release the holy name so that everyone, regardless of how disgustingly fallen they are, no matter what hideous, scary, ugly things they're doing with their lives and their family members and neighbors and whatnot, in other words, they're breaking into people's stores and stealing all the goods, I mean, what else can we say? They're completely out of control. And those are the people that are recipients of the holy day.
Right. Hmm.
Once hearing, they're going to go back to God.
All right, we got about 6 minutes, Prabhus.
Oh, okay, well, say something.
So next meeting will be on Wednesday. So let's come up with some content for discussion over the week. What I'll do is will be writing questions regarding this discussion that we had. I'll watch it over
Yes.
and hear it, and then I'll give you a call, or we'll have something for discussion on Wednesday.
And make it clear to anyone who's listening that all they need to do is, in a short period of time, you're going to put this paper on the WhatsApp.
Yes, it's been shared in the WhatsApp. So the
You
link
did it already?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, now we have one more thing. Are we going to listen to a recording of Rishabdev?
We can. We got about 5 minutes. Rishabdev,
Well,
you
let's
can.
listen to a good 5 minutes recording.
Sure.
If it's
Yes.
really good, let's go into 10 minutes, 5 minutes overtime.
No overtime. No, I'm just kidding.
We got to have overtime.
Okay,
Football games
Rishabdev.
can have overtime, why not us? Yeah. So, do you have it set up?
I'm not sure if it has it set up or not. Prabhu, do you have it set up?
I have a recording that I haven't released. Let me see.
Sure. You can share it with us here.
Yes, it's sorry about that. It's loading. Yeah, I have it working. I don't know if I should go around to the front of the speaker.
Whatever works.
Yes.
That's great.
But
Mahaprabhu is watching his back.
but this is the recording.
Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Is that exactly what you broadcast?
No, it's something similar to that, but I'm not able to play the flute and sing at the same time. So I have to alternate between those two.
I see. Well, when you're broadcasting, do you have it synthesized so you have the flute and singing at the same time? Well, I
No,
mean,
not when I'm
something's.
broadcasting.
I'm fascinated because somehow, this is attracting a large number of people to listen to you, right? On your
Jai.
group,
Yes, on
Jai.
TikTok.
on TikTok. So, is that what they hear when they're attracted to you? That's what you're playing, or do you have more to it than that?
Some of them, the ones that have gotten like 900 views, are just the flutes, like just making melodies.
Just like this,
Yes.
or different, or the same?
They're the same kind of melodies, just they come to me at different times, and so they have different emotions behind them.
Got it.
But I try to think of Krishna most of the time when I'm writing the music.
Do you ever chant also?
Yes.
Do you have a chanting song? That's the next step.
Jai. I just do the Maha Mantra all day.
No, I'm talking about on your
Put it
broadcast.
to music.
Yes, on my broadcast, sometimes I do the Maha Mantra.
Fantastic.
Jai.
Spreading
No.
Krishna consciousness through music. What a wonderful thing.
Jai.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is very
Hare
interesting
Krishna.
because if you're getting 900 people listening, there's something there that's attracting them, right?
Jai.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Something's
Prabhu.
attractive. So I want to understand. I like to. Krishna is all attractive. Therefore, if something is attractive, it's because Krishna is attractive. And I want to understand what is it you're doing that's attractive, that is making people Krishna conscious. So that's why I asked you to play.
Jai.
Nice.
Thank you.
Very.
Thank you, Rishabh Dev.
It's very higher
Thank you so
astral
much.
stuff. Upper astral music from the astral plane.
Thank you. Thank you, Nara.
Very impressed. So sometime I'd like to see that you can figure out how to broadcast like this, but something that has been. Do you put them together onto one recording so that you have the music and the mantra at the same time?
Yes, I've done it a few times.
Does it work out?
Yes, it works out great. I just need to do longer recordings of it.
Yeah, that's good. But sometime next time on Wednesday, maybe, why not come on board with one where you're playing music and chanting? I'd love to hear the whole thing.
Jai.
All right, Prabhus, we're at 10 o'clock. Jai. So we're going to continue our next meeting on Wednesday, 8 p.m. California time. So in the meantime, if any devotees would like to get in contact with us, please join the group. It's in the description of the video. And then there's Narayan Prabhu, Manjari, Mahaprabhu, Rishabh Dev, all the gang is there. They can message us or they can post.
And Ramachandra.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
there also, right?
You're not also, no, you're the chairman of the
Okay.
board. Ramachandra's in charge. I'm just the person he's asked to come and make comments every once in a while.
Mahaprabhu's there too. If you need your eyes, ears checked out, he can check out your ears, right?
That's right. Shravanam Das.
Shravanam, right? Get your ears checked out and make sure you can hear properly.
It's important.
Right, very important.
Okay, good
Krishna.
night, everyone.
Good night, Prabhus. We'll end it here.
Good night.
Thank you very much.
Rupa Manjari Dasi.
Jai.
Haribol.
So, Rupa, did you like the reading, how it went?
Haribol.
Yeah, it was good.
Okay, let's keep on going. Let's get
Haribol.
towards the good.
Jai
Hare
Prabhus.
Krishna.